video of a few things I want to have a faff around with, because that's pretty much what I do, faff around with lots of things and see what happens. So I made some chicken and beans the other week and it was delicious. And what I did was I cooked the beans first and then used the bean cooking juice to cook the chicken, and then added the beans back into the chicken and chicken juice. So what was interesting about that was that the bean juice was that's kind of like the bean cooking liquor was a little bit cloudy, and the chicken clarified it up, which was kind of quite interesting. And I did it. I cooked the chicken in the bean cooking liquor that way, so I could season the chicken. Now, if we were to cook the chicken and season the chicken into water and then use that water to cook the beans would have taken forever to cook because the salt in the liquid would have toughened the beans up. So, but it was kind of quite interesting. It was very delicious, and the stock, the cooking liquor, was obviously a stock of some description, but it tasted really nice. And I kind of went down this thought of, is there something in like a bean cooking juice that makes a stock taste better? So what we're going to do today is I was prepping some chickens, so we've got a load of chicken bones and I've cooked some chickpeas and I've kept the chickpea cooking water. So we're going to use that water as the basis for a stock instead of water. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make some chicken stock and we're going to cook some chickpeas in that chicken stock, and we're going to do a bit of a comparison just to kind of find out which way is best to do it. Is it best to make a chicken stock out of chickpea water, or is it best to make a better flavored stock from making a chicken stock and then cooking chickpeas in it? I think it'll be the chickpea water that will be better, but let's do it both ways around so we kind of know. And then also, to tie in with this, I have rendered down the chicken fat and the parson's noses and the chicken fat as well. And there's some liquid there's fat on top of that, and then there's liquid underneath. That liquid will be a little bit cloudy. So let's also have a go at seeing if cooking some chicken bones in that cloudy cooking liquid clarifies it up. And let's also see if maybe cooking some chickpeas in that cloudy liquid clarified it up. Are we going to do that as well? Yes, I think we are going to do that. Yeah, so I think those are the only things that I've got planned. Only. But there's always lots to do. So strain those chickpeas, and then I'm going to have to do something with all these chickpeas. Oh, it's not a lot of chickpea water, not to worry. So not a very high yield of chickpea water. I think we'll have to let that down with some other water, but it'll reduce time and we'll be able to get a better idea. So that can just start straining through. So just get my hands a little bit chickeny. So chicken bones in here. These are the hip bones. We've got some leg bones underneath. We'll have to top it up with some water and drain all that chickpea liquid out of there, but you get the idea. Bring that up to the boil and then slowly simmer for 2 or 3 hours, something like that. And then with the rest of the bones, we'll keep some back for cooking the other chickpeas, or seeing if that liquid clarifies with the bones. And the rest of that will make some stock, which will bring up the same again, bring up to the boil, and then simmer for 2 to 3 hours. I'm not going to put any vegetables in this stock because I don't want the flavour to be changed by putting vegetables in. And then I was so this was another thought. I was kind of thinking about stocks and roast vegetable stocks and all that kind of stuff. And do we actually have to really use bones in a roast stock? If chickpeas turn out to be quite a good flavour enhancer, we might not actually have to use bones in like in a roast vegetables kind of stock. We could just use roast vegetables, and that makes it vegetarian and vegan, and probably would make it taste particularly very good as well. But anyway, those are future experiments. This is what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm just making 2 stocks, and I'll be back when these are ready. We'll give them a taste and all that kind of stuff. Look at that. That chickpea water chicken stock has gone rather cloudy, to say the least. I wonder if that's because of the... So you can take chickpea water and you can use it to make mayonnaise. So it homogenises things. So I wonder if... Is homogenise the right word? Emulsifies things. Homogenise, emulsify. No, that's not emulsify. Yeah, it emulsifies things. So I wonder if that's the reason why it's gone cloudy. Not a great flavour. So, this is very clear. This is just plain chicken stock. How does that taste in comparison? Quite clean flavoured, to say the least. So, let's cook some chickpeas in that stock and see what happens. Right, chickpeas are cooked, and that stock has stayed clear. So, chickpeas are cooked. I'll grab a few. I haven't really taken on the flavour of the chicken stock, but how does the stock taste? That's a bit fatty with that bit. As nice as that. As nice as that. Once seasoned, that would be lovely. So, from that we deduce that we cook the chickpeas in the stock rather than cooking the stock in the chickpea water, because that happens. I think we'll use that to have a go at clarifying. So we'll strain that stock off. I've got some chicken meat, so we'll have a go with cooking some chicken meat in it, see if that clarifies it. We've got some bones, we'll use some bones to see if that will clarify it. And we've got some more chickpeas, we'll put some chickpeas in it and we'll see if that clarifies it. Just out of interest, my own interest. Chickpeas are cooked, stock is still very cloudy. So, I'm going to try next bones or meat. Probably the bones. Right, so that hasn't worked either. Right, let's see if whole chicken makes a difference. I've got some chicken to cook for the weekend, so we'll cook the chicken leg meat, which I cut the bones from, and see if that makes any difference. Probably not, but we'll see. So this is coming up to the boil, and what's happening is that the juice, blood, is coming out of the chicken. It was fresh chicken, and it's kind of looks like it's going to clarify the stock. So I don't know what that actually is that's coming out of the chicken, but like what would be the kind of cooking juices that, if you were to roast a chicken, so let me just turn this gas down, it's starting to burn me. So if you were to roast chicken, like the juices that come out of the chicken is kind of like I don't actually know, like liquid that comes out of the chicken. Like there's a bit of blood in it, a few different things, and it looks like it's going like scrambled eggs. And I think that is going to clump together and collect all bits of sediment and kind of clarify the stock. And I think that's what was in. I think that's when I cooked the chicken and beans, and it clarified the bean cooking liquid. The chicken did. I think that's kind of what's happened. So it's given the sediment in there something to grip onto, because it, like the proteins that are kind of coming out of the chicken, let's kind of call it that, because when we clarify a stock we use a little bit of minced meat, chicken if it's going to be a chicken dish, and egg whites, which are both rich in protein. So it's obviously the protein that's giving something, the sediment in the stocks, something to kind of grip onto. I really should have paid more attention in college, to be honest. But it looks like it's clarifying it a little bit already. But we'll just kind of see. It's not. There's still some raw bits of chicken in there. It's not, as you can see there. It's coming up to the boil slowly. So that seems to be happening. And then my other kind of thought was about boiling stocks and things. I was thinking about this. So when we clarify a stock, we make a mixture of egg whites and minced meat, and then we stir that whisk it into a stock, and then it cooks and it forms a raft that sits on the top of the stock, and then you slowly simmer it, and the stock doesn't go cloudy. It clarifies, even though it's underneath something. But if you were to put a lid on something, like if you put a lid on a pan, and boil a stock, it would go cloudy. Even if it was like really kind of quite clear, it would still go cloudy. There would be some sediment in there that would make it go cloudy, but it looks like the proteins that are coming out of the chicken are clarifying the stock. But anyways, I was thinking about that, and do you really need to skim a stock as much as you think you do by leaving the sediment and things on top of the stock? Does this sediment therefore attract other bits? The sediment that's on the top, does it attract other sediment out of the stock, and it has something to attach to? That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's kind of like my thought. Probably makes no sense whatsoever, and I'm probably wrong. But anyway, that seems to make sense as that. Anyway, so we'll bring it up to the boil, cook it, fat will come out, more impurities will be collected, and we'll kind of see how it turns out. Right, so this has definitely, let me just turn the gas off, this has definitely clarified it to some degree. Not crystal clear, but certainly clarified it. Before it starts to want to boil back into itself, let's take some out and strain it through a few layers of cloth, like we would do when we were clarifying a stock. And those snotty bits, sediment on the top of the stock, will stay in the cloth, and we'll be left with a crystal clear, hopefully crystal clear stock that drains through, and we'll be able to have a bit of a look at it. And then I don't know what, I don't really know what to make of this. Hang on, I need to blow my nose. Hang on. Right, I blow my nose, and we've collected enough of the stock. Right, it's a bit steamy, but I'll just be able to get that there. You can see how clear that stock is. So it's kind of an expensive way around to do it, but we're going to use the chicken for something else. But it tastes delicious as that. Lovely and clear. So that's probably something to do with the proteins in the meat, and it certainly does something with the proteins that are coming out of the meat. So, like, it wouldn't work if you'd washed the meat. The meat kind of needs to be like a little bit wet, like the moisture's kind of coming out of it, and it's that moisture and whatever's in that moisture that's binded to the sediment in the stock and clarified it. So that's what was happening when I was cooking the rice and beans. That's what was happening. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the point of this video is. Well, I know originally what the point was, but it's been a bit of a learning experience, and I've kind of understood, I now understand more about stocks and clarifying them. And the chickpea kind of was a nice idea, and we'll probably expand on that in the future. But I now know another way of how to clarify a stock. It's not a cheap way of doing it, but we're going to use that chicken. I'm using that chicken at the weekend for something I'm doing, and then the stock's going to get used for something else. So it's not actually a waste. We've actually clarified a stock for the cost of nothing, which is kind of quite interesting. I haven't had to put any egg whites in it. I haven't had to buy any extra meat because the meat's going to get used for something else. So from that point of view, that's really kind of quite interesting from my point of view. I don't know what practical applications it kind of has, but I kind of think to myself, if I have got a cloudy stock and I need to cook some chicken, then that will kind of work. I don't know why it didn't work with the bones. It's got to be something that's coming out of the meat. Even though there was meat on the bones, it didn't want to clarify it. But anyway, so long video, but interesting all the same, and therefore a success.